thanks for joining me. My name is Karalyn and I'm a Pilates instructor at the UMSL Rec Center. We're going to do some Pilates mat work today, so make sure you've got your mat handy and a blanket if you like some extra padding for the knees. I've also grabbed a pillow today. You can use a pillow as a prop. If you've got an exercise ball, feel free to grab that, but just something that we can hold on to give us a little bit more support through class today. So we're going to start standing and just start with some stretches to get the body moving. So let's go ahead and reach one arm up and overhead. Bring it close to that ear, nice big inhale, and then exhale, dips you over to the side. We'll stay there, move the arm away from you, come all the way up, and then switch those arms. So right arm can come up towards the ear, take that exhale, bend to the side, and then reach the arm away as the head stays where it's at, and then we'll come up through center. Same thing, inhale nice and big, exhale, reach that arm away, a little bit of a neck stretch there, come back through center, inhale, exhale to the side, feel a stretch across the side body, reach the arm for the hip, and then come up through center. We'll try that a few more times here, reach that arm nice and long, exhale, arm reaches away, head comes up, last one each side, inhale, exhale, dips you over, reach the arm away, come to standing, last one, inhale, exhale, reach the arm away and come up to standing. Let's widen those feet, and we're going to take them just wider than the shoulders, and we want the feet to ankle out, whatever feels natural for you here. We're going to reach both arms up and overhead. We're going to add some rotation. So rotate to the left with that spine. Come back through center, and we'll rotate to the right. So I've got the arms lifted just to feel some length through the torso. Try to reach away and out of that pelvis. But if the shoulders are feeling tired today, or if you've already done some work for those arms, you can always bring them down through center. You can take the hands to the shoulders, maybe find a little bit of openness there across the chest. Just finding our rotation and notice what the pelvis is doing. So with the wide-legged stance, it's a little bit easier to keep that pelvis still, and that's what we're going for. So trying to find that rotation through the torso and through that upper back, that thoracic back region. Let's take one more each side. Exhale, inhale center, exhale to the other side. Come back through center. We're going to reach those arms up, or you can let them down if you need a break. We're going to find that same rotation, rotate to the left. This time we'll add some movement for the spine. So we're going to reach down towards the foot. Rotate through center, let those fingertips drag across the floor, and then we'll come up the other side and then face forward. We'll start to that left side again, rotate. Reach down for the foot, let those fingertips just grace the ground, and then come all the way up. So we should feel some rotation happening through the spine. Might also feel a nice little stretch for those hamstrings, starting to get those legs involved. We'll take one more this direction. Adding that exhale maybe as those arms go down, and then once you're to the top, we'll reverse. So start with that rotation, and then reach down for the foot. Drag those arms through center over to the other side and all the way up. We'll rotate, inhale, exhale, through center, inhale, brings you up, two more, rotate, reach down, exhale, coming up the other side, and last one, rotate, exhale as you reach down, inhale, come all the way up, and then we'll press the hands down for the hips. Let's heel toe those feet in and bring them underneath of you here. So now we're going to have that closer connection in with the feet for our roll down. So inhale the arms up. This time we'll roll forward. So take a dive forward as you reach the hips back behind you. Exhale. And then we'll let that pelvis just rotate over the legs as you start to roll up. Bring those arms overhead. The gaze can follow. Inhale. Exhale as you dive forward. And then we'll start that roll up, keeping the belly pulled in, the shoulders down. Let's try one more. Inhale. Exhale, dive forward. And then we'll roll all the way up arms be heavy, head is heavy. And once you're to the top, roll those shoulders back. Let's take a few shoulder shrugs here. Opening the chest, opening the shoulders. And then we'll reverse that direction. So bring those shoulders forward. And just breathe through this here. Just noticing if there's any knots or tightness in those shoulders. And try to direct the breath there. And then we'll take one more to the back and settle those shoulders down. From here, we're going to make our way down to the mat. I like the blanket underneath of my knees here. You can also take the pillow if you want a little bit more cushion, and you can set it there. So either way works for me. Find your position. We're going to find an all fours position to start. So knees are under the hips and the heel of the hands under the shoulders. From this position, we're going to stretch that spine a little bit more. So I want you to imagine the heel of the hand is pressing back towards the knees. As you do this, press the chest forward, trying to reach that breastbone between the shoulders so we find some length across the spine. And then from there, try to press that pubic bone behind you so we feel a little arch through the spine, but don't let that belly drop, so still feel a little connection through the abdominal region. From there, exhale, we'll round the spine, reaching the back of the ribs for the ceiling as we press into the hands to open the shoulder blades. And then inhale, come back to that extension. So reach the heel of the hands for the knees, reach the breastbone through the arms, and reach the pubic bone back towards the feet. Nice big inhale. Exhale as you round the spine. So really exaggerate the movement, trying to reach the back of the ribs for the sky, pressing the hands into the floor, feeling that space across the mid-back and between the shoulders. Let's try one more each direction. We'll find our extension. So heel of the hands to the knees, breastbone through the arms, pubic bone towards the feet. And then exhale, back of the ribs to the sky, hands into the floor, and hollow out that belly. And then let's come to what feels like center, so somewhere between those two positions. I want to add a little bit more movement for the hips here. So we're going to tuck the toes under, and then from there just sink the hips back. So you get a little stretch back. And then we'll press forward as we drag the heel of the hands towards the knees. We can untuck the toes, find that extension. And then same thing here. Tuck the toes under, reach back, try to press the floor away, find some space, and then exhale. We can come forward and find our extension. So adding that little tuck of the toes can help stretch the feet here. If you'd like to sink a little deeper into that stretch for the spine, we can leave the toes on the mat and then sink the hips back a little bit further. So either is a good option here, but we're trying to flow through those two positions, finding some extension as we come forward, and then really pressing that floor, pressing that mat away from you as you go back. So we're getting some movement in the shoulders, some movement in the hips, and some movement in the spine. Let's try one more each way. Pressing back. And then we'll come forward for that all fours position here, just to pause. So we want to do a little balance work. Since we're here, we're going to work our core a little bit. So if you're still feeling strong in those shoulders, stay with me a little bit longer. Really press that floor away and then feel the shoulders pull down the back. So we've got those shoulder blades down and along the ribs. From there, we're going to reach one hand forward. Try to keep the chest level, the shoulders level. If that's feeling solid, let's reach the opposite leg back. The toes can slide down the mat to start, and then try to lift from that high hamstring, so the top of the back leg. Lift up and hold this position. From here, I really want you to reach the fingertips away from the toes, so we're trying to grow longer in this position. Feel the abdominals engaged to keep you supported. That bottom hand and bottom knee are supporting you here. Let's take one more breath. Nice big inhale. And then exhale. Set that all down. We're going to go right to the other side. So find that all fours. Reach the opposite hand forward and up. Check in with those shoulders. See if they're still square. Bring that opposite leg back. And then we'll lift it up. So holding that position here. We should feel the glute working, the shoulders are working, and the abdominals are keeping you balanced. Make sure you can take nice full breaths. Last one. And then we'll bring it all sink back to the child's pose position. We can keep those toes on the ground here. And then walk the hands a little bit more forward if you want to sink a little lower. Trying to reach the chest for the thighs. And let's pause here, allowing those shoulders to open and creating some length along the spine. And then let's pop ourselves up, and we're gonna come all the way up onto those knees. So once we're here, bring the hands to the hips to start. So we still want the knees under the hips. We don't have them too wide or too narrow. They feel nice and solid and supportive underneath of you. And then go ahead and roll those shoulders back. So feel the collarbones lengthen away from each other. From here, without changing the shape of the spine, we're gonna start to lean back. So as we lean, we notice we put a little bit more pressure into those feet to help hold us in that position. And then go ahead and bring it forward. We'll take a lean back, inhale. And then exhale forward. So the hinge is actually happening at the knee. As you do, that core has to support you. So if you feel anything negative in the spine or the low back, I suggest a little bit more tilt of the pelvis forward. So we can imagine that tailbone is reaching down. We're tucking the tailbone under just a little bit and trying to pull the pubic bone up towards the breastbone. And that can help create a little bit more connection for the abdominals if it was hard to find there. Let's try 2 more. We can play with those arms, maybe reaching them forward as you go back. They can open as you come forward or come up. Maybe they reach overhead. Just trying a few things here, noticing how that changes the exercise. If we lengthen our levers, our arms, right? So the further away from the body they are, the more the abdominals have to work to help us here. Let's try 1 more. I don't know if I promised less, but we're going for 1 more. Come all the way up and then lower the arms down. Let's swing those legs in front of you. And we want our prop to be behind us so that when we lay down, which we will soon, it'll be under our head, so we'll be nice and comfy there. So let's find the center of our mat. Feet will be on the mat here, and we're gonna work on our roll down. So we're gonna work those abdominals a little bit more, and we've already found some nice stretch for the spine, so we're gonna use that here to help us get down. So we can use the hands on the shins to start to pull our chest forward. So we're trying to get the shoulders over the hips and feel nice and tall through the spine. So we can imagine that the top of the head is reaching for the ceiling, and we've got some length there. Once you're here, try to release those hands forward, keeping that height that you gained. And then we'll start with a roll back just about halfway. So allow the pelvis to start to roll underneath of you, feeling the pubic bone start to come closer to the breastbone as you roll back. And let's go about halfway, whatever that means to you. Inhale. And then exhale will roll us forward. And then the inhale will lift the spine tall. Same thing, we're gonna start that roll back. So feel the pelvis start to roll away from you. And those sits bones underneath of you are gonna narrow as you start to roll back. Inhale. And then exhale, roll forward. Inhale, tall. Let's try a couple more here. As that pelvis moves, as it starts to roll, feel the belly gently pull tighter towards the spine. So we've got that connection of the abdominals that helps move us here and control our roll back. Let's try 1 more. Nice big inhale there. Exhale to roll back. Inhale, pause. Exhale, roll forward. Inhale, lift tall. Let's take the hands behind the thighs, and we're gonna roll all the way down. If you're feeling confident today, you can take the hands forward. Wherever you're at, sit nice and tall. Inhale. Exhale, we'll roll back. Continue that roll down until we're all the way down on the mat. So hopefully that prop is right behind you here, so you can rest it underneath of the head. Let's go ahead and walk the feet in a little closer to the body. So I want to get those hips moving a little bit and warm them up. If we've been doing a lot of sitting, we might feel some popping or clicking in the hips. So we're just gonna breathe through it here a little bit, and we can always make that movement a little bit smaller. So hands down by the hips. All I want you to do is bring one knee up and down to the other side. So marching those feet, and just notice how the hips feel here. So for me, I have a lot of tightness through the front of my hips. So I get some popping going on, right? And it's not painful, it's just there, right? And you may have felt this or are feeling this. So one thing I like to do is first try to direct my breath down towards my hips. So try not to just keep it in the lungs and in the ribs, but breathing nice and full and deep and sending it down towards my hips. And that'll start to activate those muscles that will help this movement. So it'll start activating those abdominals, which will help support the hips, taking a little less pressure out of the front of the hips. And then I might also try just shortening that range of movement. So it might be a little bit smaller, or for me, it's more at the bottom of this movement. So I might take one foot up and then take it about halfway down. So just testing that range, and I'll let you decide where you need to pause, where you need to focus the energy and the breath. And then let's go ahead and all lift one leg up, and let's get some movement, some rotation in that hip. So all I want you to do is bring that knee out to the side, down, a little bit across, and up. So it doesn't have to be perfect. The hips can roll around a little bit on this one, but I want you to start imagining that that femur bone, right, our leg bone, is circling in the hip socket. So we're giving that joint some nice lubrication and trying to get rid of some of that popping. Let's go ahead and reverse directions. Let's take two more. And then we'll set the leg down, bring that other leg up. We'll start with those circles, taking them out, down, across, and up. And they can be pretty small here. So, I don't know, maybe the size of a frisbee. Let's try one more. And we'll reverse, go across, down, out, and up. So I'm allowing my hips to wiggle here a little bit, trying not to over-engage the abdominals. Usually they want to turn on to help this movement happen. So try to let them just be there. Relax as much as you can. Let's try one more. And then we'll set that foot down. So from here, I want to work those upper abdominals. So we've got those hips moving a little bit. I want to find a tabletop position with those legs. So we'll bring one knee up, and the knee will be over the hip. And then let's bring the other leg to meet it. So from here, I'm going to cue inside edges of the feet together. So the inside edges are pressing together, but then my knees are gently wide, and they can be even just a little bit wider than the hips. So you've got a mini diamond shape. This will help engage those low abdominals a little bit more, taking a little more pressure out of the front of the hips. So give that a try if the legs close together feels like too much work for those hips. Once you're there, I want you to let one leg drop down towards the floor. And I know I said mid-abs, but I changed my mind. We're going to work those low abs first. And then we'll switch. Bring that other leg down and lift it up. So from here, now we've got that core engaged. So I should feel the back of my hips heavy on the mat. I can almost slide my hand underneath my low back. So I've got that natural curve of the spine. And my abdominals are supporting that position of the spine. So I'm able to move my legs without the spine changing shape and without having to press my low back into the floor. So if you start to move the legs and you lose that connection, make it a really tiny movement. And that's going to focus all that energy on the core and less on the hips and less on the spine. Let's try one more here. And then bring those knees together, hug the knees into the chest, take the hands to the shins. Just taking a pause. That low back now can press into the floor, so we find a little length for the spine. This could feel good if you've got some low back tightness. And let's go ahead and rock side to side, massaging the spine and the back of the hips. And then we're going to come back to that tabletop position. So hands to the mat, legs to tabletop, and if you like that wider leg position, let's find that here. Now we're going to focus on those upper abdominals. So we're going to take the hands behind the head. You can interlace the fingers and let the elbows just gently fall wide. Inhale at the bottom. On your exhale, we'll find our curl, lifting head, neck, maybe the tops of the shoulder blades off the mat, and then inhale, lower down. Take your exhale. Use that exhale to help curl you up, sending the air into the back of the ribs, helping you get a little further off the floor. Let's try 2 more. And last one. Rest it down, bring the knees in, take the hands to the shins, get that stretch from the spine again. And then now from here, we're gonna find our curl and stay there. So we're gonna start with the hands on the shins. Inhale there at the bottom. Exhale, use the hands to help curl you up. So we feel the low back pressing into the mat, and we feel a nice tight ball shape here. We're gonna reach one leg out, bring that opposite hand to the knee. Hold the curl, inhale. Exhale as you switch, switching the hands as you go. Inhale. And exhale. So I'm slowing this one down to really exaggerate the movement, and so that we notice what's going on in the abdominals and in the head, neck, and shoulders. So if you feel a lot of strain for the neck, my first cue is to tilt the chin down just a hair to find some length across the back of the neck. And we're almost imagining that that head is just hovering over the chest, and it could hang out there all day. If that's not you today, you've got that pillow behind you. Take the head down, still working the abdominals here. Let's try 2 more wherever you're at. And last set, really reaching through the toes. And then hug both knees in, stay in that curl just a little bit longer. And then set the head down, rock side to side. We should start to feel our abdominals at this point, hopefully. So from here, I'm going to challenge you a little bit more. So we're going to find out that same curl. Exhale, curl. Now from here, we're going to reach both legs for the ceiling. They do not have to go straight, but we're thinking length through those toes. Hold on to one leg as you bring it closer to the body. That opposite leg will start to reach towards the mat. Exhale, 1, 2, and switch. We're grabbing either behind the calf or behind the thigh. Just stay away from that knee. And again, that head can always come down. 1 more set. Bring both legs up and then bend the knees. Rest it down, rock it side to side. And then we'll find center, set the feet down, and we're gonna let the abdominals relax or release just a little bit for a moment. So hands will come to the hips. We want the heels closer towards the glutes, and we've got our knees in line with our hip bones. We've got a nice sturdy base here. From here, I want you to just first imagine that those collarbones are growing wide. So we feel some openness across the chest. And I want you to start with our pelvic curl, or pelvic tilt. So we'll tilt that pubic bone towards the breastbone. As you do that, low back is now pressing against the floor, so I can't slide my hand underneath there. There's no space. From there, start to send energy into the bottom of the feet as you lift the hips away from the mat, rolling that spine up, finding your bridge position. Once you're there, inhale. Exhale, we'll melt the spine down, starting with that upper back. So trying to set the spine down, feeling the back of the ribs press into the mat, Feeling the mid back, trying to get that low back to touch, and then release that pelvic curl. So we're pointing that pubic bone down. Same thing, so inhale here. Exhale, start that curl of the pelvis. That's the first thing that goes. Once you've got that, press into the feet. Start to roll the spine up, lifting the hips, pointing the knees over the toes, and then we'll roll the spine down, using that exhale to help control the movement. And inhale, release. Exhale, rolls you up. So we're really exaggerating that roll of the spine, just to start to open up the spine a little bit more, and to help us notice where we might have some tightness. So noticing if maybe that low back doesn't want to quite reach the mat. We've got a little tightness there. Maybe it's the mid back, the back of the ribs, or maybe it's the hip region, the pelvis. So just noticing how this feels in the body. And as you go, really pressing into the feet, so feeling grounded there, and that'll help to engage the back of the legs, the hamstrings and the glutes. So it's not all the front of the body doing the work, right? We want the back of the body to work as well. On our next roll up, we're gonna stay there. So inhale to prepare. Exhale to roll up, holding our bridge. Wherever your bridge is, find that place you can hold. We're gonna try to lift one foot off the ground. So feeling balanced and strong, lift one leg up, tap down, and we're gonna switch sides. So challenging our core to keep us in this position, allowing the hips to move. So we're mimicking that march we did at the very beginning. This time we're adding on our bridge. So we've got a little bit more work for the legs, a little bit more work for the core. Let's try a few more here. Let that breath flow, keeping those hips lifted, trying to press the hips up, last set. And then once both feet are down, roll the spine down with just as much control as you did on that first one. And then we'll release the pelvis. Let's sway the knees side to side. Again, this can be nice for the low back. Maybe a little massage for the hips. And then we'll bring the knees through center. I want you to go ahead and remove that prop behind you, so either that pillow or a ball. And we're gonna do some low abdominal work, and we're gonna use this for a little bit of assistance. So we'll find just a mini bridge here, slip that pillow or ball underneath the hips. And this is gonna give us just a little bit of a prop up to help find some more connection with those abdominals. So from here, hands will be down by the side. Again, collarbones nice and wide. Take those legs up to tabletop to start. And then really feel the hips press into either that ball or the pillow. We feel a little connection here already through the core, right, to keep those legs there. And ideally, the legs could even feel weightless, so we could hang out here all day, right? From here, we're gonna reach one leg up. Try to straighten that leg as much as you can. We'll reach it down for the floor. It does not have to touch. Lift up and bend. To the other side. Lengthen. Lower. Lift and bend. So as you go, notice what's happening in the pelvis and in the spine. So if you feel yourself start to shift forward, right? If I let my abdominals go, I really shift forward, right? So find that connection with the abs, and then shorten that range of motion, right? If it feels like you're moving too much through the spine and through the pelvis. We want this to be about the abdominals and not any strain or tension in the spine. And don't forget to breathe. We've got one more each side. Lengthen, lower, lift, and bend. Last one, lengthen, lower, lift, and bend. Go ahead and hug the knees in. Give that that spine and those abdominals. Some attention here. And then we'll come back to that tabletop position. I'm going to challenge you one more time here for those abdominals. So we're going to find a reverse curl. So let's do this one leg at a time. So we're going to reach one leg up. That other foot is going to come and try to touch the leg here. So we've got just a nice pretty position with those legs. We're going to inhale here at the bottom. Use those hands as anchors. We're going to exhale, send the feet over the head, little curl, and down. Same thing, inhale, exhale, and down. So you've got that pillow or that ball underneath of you to help pad this motion, and just try to help that floor be a little bit closer to you. 2 more. And last one. And let's go ahead and switch those legs. Try to stay in this position if you can. Inhale, exhale. It can just be a mini lift. Try to keep those shoulders open, but those hands are there for support. And give me 2 more. And last one. And then we'll hug those knees in. Ooh. And we can rock side to side. Maybe circle the knees. And reverse. And then we'll find center, squeeze those knees in one more time. And then let's set the feet on the floor. And actually, let's do one hip stretch while we're here, while we have that prop underneath of us. So go ahead and hug one knee in towards the chest. And then we'll slide the opposite foot down the mat. So ideally here, we'll feel a nice stretch across the front of the hip. And we'll gently pull that knee a little closer to the body, stretching the back of the hip for that leg. Let's take a few breaths here. Feeling the shoulders gently open, back of the neck long. And then we can allow that knee to fall just outside the body here. So a little bit more opening across the groin. And then we'll come back through center. And then take that knee just across the body, keeping the hips down, just a small movement. And then we'll come back through center, set the foot down, slide that opposite leg in, grab the knee, and once you're there, slide that bottom leg out, feel that stretch across the front of the hip, and then hug the knee just a little bit closer for that stretch on the back of the hip. And then we'll guide the leg to the outside of the body, maybe pointing the knee towards the shoulder. Come back through center, and then we'll glide it across, still keeping the hips down. And come back through center. Let's go ahead and set that foot down, slide both legs out, and then let's reach the arms overhead, find a nice full body stretch so we can allow that back to lift away from the mat, maybe pressing just the front of the ribs up ever so slightly to find a little bit more length across the front of the body. And then we'll reach the toes away from the fingers, find some more space there. Nice big breath. And then we're gonna circle the arms down. As you do, start to lift the head, the neck, the shoulders away from the mat as we curl ourselves all the way up. And then let's take a forward fold to stretch the hamstrings and the spine. And then we'll walk those hands in. From here, we're going to lay down on our side. So let's face forward. And then I'm going to take my pillow and set it where my head's going to go here. So we're going to come down onto one side. And so that shoulder will be underneath of you. And the head can rest down on the pillow if that feels a little too low or you need to adjust. Sorry, I've got a hair here. You can also add the hand underneath the head or rest both down. So I think I want a little bit more props. I'm going to take the arm underneath of me as well. And then bring the knees forward so that we're finding that same tabletop position. right? But now we're on our side. So the knees are in front of the hips and my shins line up with the edge of my mat. From there, we're gonna work our outer thigh and our external rotation. So keeping the feet together, I'm gonna lift that top knee, try to reach it up and close. So for most, this is a pretty small movement, and it really helps to isolate that outer thigh muscle and that outer hip. So it's a really good area to strengthen. It's really good for our hip mobility. And really try to press those feet together so that we keep the hips square and we're not rotating open at the hips. And you can take a hand there to help as well. Let's try 2 more here. And last one. And close. From here, I'm going to lift that entire leg off the bottom leg. I've got that same shape of the leg, and then now we'll just set it down. So lifting it up as one unit and down. So again, we're trying to still feel that in the back of the thigh and that outer thigh region. Good, and think about lifting maybe the knee and allowing that foot just to go along for the ride. So we stay level and parallel in this position. Let's try 2 more. And last one, lift, and set that down. Now we're gonna add some movement for the hips, so add some circles. We'll lift that leg about the same height, bring it close to the body, lift it up, circle it down, and then back in. So we're not changing much right at the knee. Where this motion is coming from is the hip. So that leg bone in the hip. Try one more this direction. And then we'll reverse. So send that leg away, lift it up, and bring it in. Whew, let's try 2 more. And last one. Good, and down, rest it there. Let's go ahead and reach that top leg down the body. So it's a nice long line from our head to our toes. And then now we're gonna lift it just a little bit higher than the hip. Find an external rotation. So rotate that hip open just a little bit. Those toes will point more up towards the ceiling. And then now we'll circle that leg forward, lift it up and back, and then down. So little circles with that leg, feeling that leg go back behind you just a little bit, and that top hand can be on the ground for support. As that leg goes back, feel those abdominals gently pull in. So they are counter weight here, they're supporting us. Try 2 more. And then we'll reverse. So start that movement back, lift up, forward, and down. We should be feeling that outer thigh. Try 2 more. And last one. Woo! And then we'll set that leg down, slide it in. We're gonna go ahead and take a stretch while we're here. So bring that top knee forward and down. If that ground feels far away, you can take that prop and slide it underneath of it. Reach the bottom leg long, and then we're gonna lift the head, bring the arms out to a T, and rotate so that we try to reach that back shoulder down towards the mat as we get a stretch for that outer thigh. So breathe through this here, nice deep breaths. The gaze can be to the sky or to that back arm. Let's take 1 more breath. And then we'll rotate forward. We're gonna press ourselves up and swing those legs around. And we've got that on the other side, so bring that prop with you. And we'll lay ourselves down and try to mimic what you did on the other side. So if you had that arm underneath of you or out in front, try to find that here. We take that tabletop position with the legs, so knees in front of the hips, and then shins in line with the mat, and we'll start with that work for the hips. So keep the feet together, lift that top knee away, and close. So for me, I know this is my tighter side, so I've got a smaller range of motion on this side, and you might have some imbalances too. So just noticing what they are so that we can work towards correcting them. And we want to think that that top of the hip is long. So we're trying to reach the sit bone down towards the heel. So we've got that natural curve of the spine here. We're not tucking through the pelvis. Let's try 2 more. And last one. And close. From here, we'll lift that entire leg up as one unit and close. And it might take a couple tries to find this movement on this side. And you might notice that bottom leg is wearing out too, right? It's tired. It's got to support you now in this position. Let's try 2 more here. And close, rest it there for a moment. Let both legs take a little breather. And then when you're ready, lift that top leg up. We go into the circle, so bring it closer to the body. Lift up, away, and down. So try to have that movement come from the hip, keeping the knee and foot as quiet as you can. Try 2 more here. Ooh, and last one. And then we'll reverse. We'll send the leg away, lift it up and over, bringing it closer to the body. Imagining the femur bone is rotating in the hip socket. Try 2 more. And last one. Woo. And then we'll set that leg down. When you're ready, reach the leg long. Got our last exercise here. So we lift the leg. Find our external rotation, trying to rotate that leg open. And we go into our circles. So we lift up just a little higher, rotate back, forward, and up. So this movement happens from the top of the thigh, right? So still in the hip. Try 2 more. And then we'll reverse, sending it back, up, and forward. Good. And go to that moment where we feel like we could almost lose our balance, but we hang on, right? We've got those abdominals there. They know what to do. Try 2 more. And last one. Woo. And then we'll set that leg down, slide it in, and we'll take our stretch. So bring that top knee a little closer to the body, reach the bottom leg long, and then we'll rotate onto the shoulders for our stretch. Woo. Trying to get that back shoulder to reach down towards the ground, and that might mean the top knee lifts a little bit higher, just depending on how tight we are through the spine and through the hip. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And then we'll rotate forward. We're going to come onto our bellies. And then that prop, let's go ahead and just move it out of the way here for now. So we want the forehead down on the mat, and our hands are going to be just under the forehead. So the forehead resting on the hands, I should say. The tops of the feet will rest on the floor. And then from here, let's just find our breath again. So nice big inhale, try to expand the back of the ribs up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, see if we can feel the belly pull in towards the spine. So start to find that connection with the core in this position. Let's try 1 more breath. Expanding the ribs up towards the ceiling, inhale. And exhale, feel the belly pull in towards the spine. Let's keep that engagement through the core. I want you to lift the forehead away from the hands on the inhale. Just allowing that chest to lift up And then exhale to lower. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. On your lift, imagine those shoulders are sliding back as the breastbone is sliding forward, mimicking what we did in that all fours position, right? So that cat-cow where we reach the breastbone through the arms. Feel that connection here. So we feel some strength behind the shoulders and feel an openness across the chest. Try one more. Inhale to lift you up. Exhale to set you down. Now I'm going to challenge you further. So this time, hands stay glued to the forehead. We'll find that same lift on the inhale. And then exhale to lower. So same sensation of that chest trying to reach forward, the shoulders reaching back. That creates your length. And then exhale, grow even longer as you lower down. So it's less about how high you lift and more about how long you can make the spine. And I've noticed I've started to engage those legs. So I've got my toes pointed. I feel my pubic bone pressing down towards the mat. So I've got my core engaged, my belly pulling in towards the spine. Let's try one more. Nice big inhale. And then exhale to set you down. From here, let's take the arms just wider than the mat, and then we can set the forehead all the way down. And if you want that pillow underneath of your forehead, you're welcome to take that there if you like a little bit of a hover. From here, I want you to lift both arms up. As you do, reach those fingertips nice and wide, lifting from the back of the shoulders, trying to reach those shoulder blades together, and then exhale, set them down. Inhale, find length through those fingertips as you lift from the back of the shoulders, and then exhale to lower. Let's try two more. Inhale, reach the fingertips apart, lift from the back of the shoulders, exhale, lower. And last one, inhale, lengthen, exhale, as you lower down. Let's go ahead and take those hands, place them underneath the shoulders, and then give yourself a nice lift here with those hands. So roll the shoulders back, reach the elbows back for the feet as you lift that forehead away from the ground. Finding some extension, exhale, lower, just one more there. Really feeling those shoulders open, rolling back, the elbows pointing back, the chest reaching forward, and then exhale, lower down. Let's go ahead and make this time a pillow with those hands. Rest the forehead on the hands, and we're going to focus on the lower body here for a moment. So let that upper body just hang out. We're going to start by reaching the right toes and try to slide them down the mat. So they're growing longer, and as they do, they have to grow so much that you just float that leg off the mat, right? It happened, right? And then we'll set the toes down. Let's stay on that same side, whichever side you're on. Reach those toes back so far that we have to lift that leg. It has to float up. Maybe that knee lifts up, maybe the thigh, the front of the thigh, and then set it down. Let's try two more. Creating length through those toes. Feeling that lift happen where the bottom meets the hamstring, right? Where the glute meets the hamstring. So that crease between the butt and the thigh. Try two more. And last one. Woo. And we'll set that leg down and just let both legs relax here. So give yourself a little moment. Maybe wiggle those hips. And then we're going to switch sides. So that opposite leg, reach those toes down the mat. We find so much length that the leg has to float up, and we set it down. Same thing, grow even longer, maybe another centimeter or two, and then lift up and down. And maybe you've noticed some different things side to side here. Maybe you find that glute connection a little faster on one side. find a little bit more length on one side. Let's try 2 more. And last one. Rest it down, and same thing. Let those legs kind of wiggle, those hips wiggle. Now I'm going to try both legs. So we're going to lengthen both sets of toes out. And then we have to lift those legs up. We float those legs up. Let's see if we can hold here for a breath or two. Maybe start to kick those feet a little bit. We're swimming with those legs. Maybe lift a little bit higher, feeling the glutes connect. Last 4, 3, 2, and 1. We'll set those feet down. Let those legs just relax. And then we'll slide the hands underneath the shoulders. We're going to press ourselves up and then reach the hips back for our lovely stretch here for the spine. And just allow the hips to sink over the heels. Allow the chest to sink down towards the thighs. And use that inhale to expand the ribs, opening the spine even more. And exhale. Take one more breath here. And then let's walk the hands in. From here, we're going to tuck the toes under. And then let's start to walk back so that we balance on the feet. And then from there, press the hands down as we reach the hips high. Find our forward fold. And then allow the pelvis to roll over the legs as you start to roll up, coming to our standing position. Whew. And then we'll face forward. Okay, so I want to end with just one more little challenge here. So I'm going to face this side, but you're welcome to face forward. So what I want you to do is take the hands to the hips, and all we'll do is start to lean ourselves forward so that we come up onto the toes. And then let's set the heels down. So same thing, lean a little bit forward to come up onto the toes, nice and tall, and down. Let's try one more, we're going to stay there. So come up, lift. Now from here, I want you to start to lean back. As you do, allow those knees to bend. So we're one long line from the knees to the head, just like we did earlier. Keep leaning until you have to come down. Woo. Try and keep your balance. From there, we're going to roll our pelvis forward. So roll that pubic bone forward, allowing the knees to point down until they plop down. Keep rolling forward so that you come up. Let's reach the arms forward and up. Nice stretch. Bring the arms forward. Let's pause there. Now we're going to start to roll that pelvis back so that we balance on the heels. Try to lift those knees up. Woo. Taking the hands down if you need to. And then from there, we're going to come all the way up onto those toes. Press up. Woo. And then set the hands down. Let's try that again. So we'll take the hands to the hips. We're going to start that lean back. Lean forward first, come onto the toes. And then we'll lean back. Try to bend through those knees, keeping one long line until that pelvis drops to those heels. Woo. We're going to roll the pelvis under, reaching the knees for the mat. And then we'll keep rolling through that pelvis to come up. Bring those arms forward, lift up. Arms forward. Now we'll roll back. Trying to pop those knees up. Whew. Maybe we get it a little bit better on this time. And then we'll come all the way up on those tippy toes. And then we'll set the heels down. Whew. Let's stretch those feet out a little bit. So we'll face forward. If we're not there already, stand on one leg here. We're going to tuck those toes under and then stretch across the foot. So put a little pressure into those toes. See how we're doing? Okay. And then we'll roll that ankle. And go ahead and set that foot down. Switch feet when you're ready. Nice and grounded through that supporting leg. Let those toes curl under. Put a little pressure into those toes. Trying to feel it from that big toe all the way across to the little toe. Stretching the top of the foot. lift that up and circle it out. From here, go ahead and place both feet down. We'll take the hands to the hips and we're gonna lift that left knee up. So this is that tabletop position we've done on the mat, right? So knee is in front of the hip and that shin is a nice 90-degree angle here. So from this position, try to press the top of that inner thigh, pressing it back so you really feel strong in this position, nice and sturdy. And we're gonna point through the toes and then rotating at the knee, bring that foot across the body, bring it through center, and then rotate away. So we're rotating at the hip again, right? Working that rotation. As we're working our balance, still pressing that inner thigh back, nice and strong, nice and lifted. That pelvis is steady. Try one more each way. And then as we set that foot down, cross it in front of the bottom leg, bottom foot. And then we'll try to get those pinky toes to touch. From here, we're gonna lift those arms up. And then we'll take our roll down, take it forward. So reach those arms down for the feet. Trying to press those legs together. Feeling a stretch for the hamstring. And then we'll roll the spine up. And then uncross. And we're gonna switch those feet. So working that opposite leg, hands to the hips. Gazes forward, we'll lift that knee up, find that tabletop position. Again, trying to feel even weightless here. So trying to allow that hip, it's supporting you here, but we're trying not to clench too much through the front of the hip. From there, press that inner thigh back on that supporting leg. We'll point through the toes, and then we'll rotate that foot across the body, through center, and away. Whew, did you hear that pop? Still had a little tightness there. Let's try one more each way. Strong through that bottom leg, inner thigh back. And then as we lower that leg, it crosses the bottom foot. Try to get those pinky toes together. And then we'll reach those arms forward and up. Find our roll down. And then roll yourself all the way up. We'll uncross those feet. Let's take a few breaths here together to end. So inhale those arms up, gaze can follow. Exhale, press the hands to the hips. Maybe add a little bend through the knees. So as you start to reach those arms up, we can lift onto the toes. And then exhale, bend the knees. Two more. Inhale, lift up. Exhale. And last one. And exhale. And come all the way up. Thank you for joining me. I hope you had fun. Please check out my other videos if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one.